Then I would like to hand over to Thomas Valenta, and he introduces us the second keynote speaker.
I'll do, Matthias, thank you. So I will take you to a little journey now. You know, we are here in Frankfurt, Germany, Europe, and now we move to Latin America. Colombia, where he was born, Mexico, where he lived for some time, and Miami, where he just came from this week.
Actually was Chile.
Chile. You came from Chile, okay. So, but Miami is where you're living, huh? So, Ricardo Triana is a long time volunteer for PMI. So he started in doing some standard work in the last decade and became the president of the Southern Florida chapter when moving to Miami, and he became a member of the board for 6 years and was the chair of the board. And he is a very enthusiastic speaker. So I saw him sometimes talking to a crowd of 3,000 and making a selfie with all of them. Yeah, standing there like that. And I think you will enjoy Ricardo. I've seen many times, and I really think you are a very valuable keynote speaker for the end of this conference. Ricardo, please join.
Thank you. Okay, can you hear me? Yes. Yep. So this is gonna be different. First, because I have this accent. I am Latin American and I cannot avoid it. And you have an accent in English, so we are even, okay? That's okay. And second, because this is gonna be interactive, okay? So be prepared. We are gonna be interacting a lot, okay? So I will let you know how this is gonna work, okay? So let me just start by introducing I had my speech prepared in here, okay? Just let me tell you. Let me see if I am able to say it. Willkommen auf dem ersten Kongress der PMI Deutschland. And that's it. That's all my German. Sorry, okay? I only know how to say yeah, and that's it. So, welcome. And I hope that you are enjoying your day. As Thomas was mentioning, I was part of the board with PMI until 2015. I was chairman of the global board in 2014. And now I'm not with PMI in that position. Okay, I continue volunteering. But they invited me to come to talk to you about the value of the profession in my professional perspective, okay? So I'm going to be just discussing what's the value of project management, and we're going to be discussing also the report that it's called Pulse of the Profession. If by any chance I'm going too fast, just let me know, okay? But before we start, let me do a different kind of introduction, okay? Let me just show you something. Let's see if it has sounds, okay?
My name is Triana, and she is my sister. I'm 8 years old, and I would like to introduce my dad, Ricardo Triana. He is very hard, and he is practical thinking, and he was a volunteer in PMI. He's an entrepreneur, and he's always hardworking in what he does. He also knows a lot of project management. He has given me books on project management, which are made for kids. I read them all. And he always goes to Dave & Buster's, and we always go to see movies with him. My dad has worked very hard on this meeting. I hope you enjoy it.
Okay. And now, that's also me, okay? Because I want to be sure that we understand that when we are talking about project management, we are just human, okay? The fact that I was with PMI, it doesn't mean that I am an expert or that any project that I did was perfect, okay? I have the same pains than you, okay? I do projects, sometimes the projects are okay, sometimes the projects don't work. I have to deal with clients, I have to deal with customers, with users, it's just the same, okay? I'm just as human as you are. And I want you to remember this. Actually, this video was recorded like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I never told him what to say, okay? Actually, that was natural. She's Sophia and she's Victoria. I have 4 children, okay? 2 older and a little older, and these 2 younger ones, okay? Now she's 13 and now she's 10. So just remember that because I want to just come back to that later. So, let me start with this story. Have you ever heard about this story of the guys that are working in a church and then someone asks to the first guy, what are you doing? And he's saying, I just move stones from here to here. And then the other guy that says, what are you doing? And he says, I'm just putting this gargoyle there and I'm finalizing the top of the church. And then the third one, they ask, what are you doing? And he says, I'm building a church for the Catholic population of this city, okay? Who of them is the project manager? That's a classic story. Who of them should be the project manager? The first one that is just moving stones, the second one that knows where the stone goes, or the third one that actually is just having the church in mind? Who should be? You can talk, it's for free. Okay? So who? The last one. No, and I don't think that that's the right one, okay? Actually, there should be another one that says, yes, but we have this church that it's supposed to be for 3,000 people, and now with these calculations, it's not going to be but only for 2,000 people, you know? Is the guy that has the actual, the goal, the end goal in mind. And usually we talk about project management like if we were building something, but the building something or the product is not enough. We need to talk about what's going to be the benefit, what's going to happen next, okay? Because actually that's the point. I think that we are missing that. And with the conversation, I'm going to be just talking about these things, okay? And I'm going to be bringing my perspective. I also have a company that it's called Practical Thinking. And someone was asking me, Manuel, where is Manuel? Manuel has left, okay? So Manuel was asking me, why practical thinking? And I say, because I really believe that we need to be practical, okay? We can think a lot, but we need to be practical. So I'm going to be bringing my perspective. I'm going to be just talking about this PMI report and what we have found, but I really would like to interact with you. And I am going to let you know how we are going to interact, okay? Let me just show you something. Let me just change something in here. Do you have a phone? Yep. Everyone, no? Yeah. Please raise your phone. You should have one, okay? Or you are living in the 80s, maybe. Okay, so telephone, okay. Do you have connection to internet? Yeah, is it working? Did you pay your bill? Okay, so with that said, let me just tell you what we are going to do. You are going to go to this website in the browser of your telephone, okay? Just go to the Safari or whatever browser you have, Chrome. Go to menti.com, okay? Everyone, okay? Menti.com. You didn't bring the cell phone. And it's going to be easy because you don't have to talk to me if you don't want or you want to talk in German, okay? And then menti.com, and it's going to be asking for a code. Just enter that code, 347058, okay? And let me show you how this is going to work. 347058. Did it work? Yes? Okay. And then when you are there, you will have a question. Let's try that one, okay? So you can play and say, start. Okay. Is it not working or what? Maybe my internet is not working. That would be a nice thing, no? Let me change something in here. Menti.com. Just wait a little bit, okay? Okay. Menti.com, 347058. Now? And now you are there, okay? Correct? Those are your results. That's the way we're going to be interacting in here, okay? I'm going to be asking you to go to your telephone. Don't close the browser, okay? I'm going to be asking questions. You can send the questions in there, okay? Are you ready to play or not? Okay. So, just try to continue, okay? Let's see if we get to 90 people. Has everyone voted or not? So, this is just a test, but what do you see in that graphic?
There's some old people in here.
There's a lot of old people. Yes. Experience, okay? Vintage. But actually, that's the point. If you look at this, you will see that most of the time in these conferences, we have a lot of people between this age, 30 and 40, a little bit, a lot of people in here, and this, okay? And this guy that he doesn't know if this was the right conference, okay? Maybe he's just lost. But this is interesting because if you pay attention to that, what we are saying is that we are not bringing that generation into these conversations. And when we talk about agile and we talk about the new project management and etc., what's going to happen in 20 years? How we are going to be preparing those guys? Because those guys are going to be managing this country, okay? Someone in the 30-something, 40 is going to be the president, okay, or the responsible of this in like 20 years. How do we change the trend? And I think that that's important. I was in Peru in a conference, and there was this speaker, this conference with the students. And it was like 1,000 people, university students. And the guy was saying, "You are the future of Peru." And I went to to do my presentation, and I say, "I have bad news. You are not the future of Peru. You are the present of Peru, okay? You are already here. Future is my grandchildren, okay? But you are already here. How do we change the trend? Because I think that we spend too much time talking and not changing the thing for real. So keep that in mind. Let me just do another exercise, okay? Are you ready? Go to your telephone. And tell me your expectations for this session. What do you expect when I say value of project management, or when you want to talk about the pulse of the profession? What do you expect to obtain from this session? Try to just give me some feedback so I can actually give you that during the session. New insights, okay. Excitement, wow, that's going to be complicated. Maybe during the happy hour, okay. Trend of the project management, broaden new trends, inspiration, different perspective, okay. Let me just navigate a little bit in here. Inspiration, intellectual challenges, learn from others, practical advice, knowledge transfer. Okay. Trends, fun. I will try, okay? And actually funnier when I drink. Project successes, okay? What's new? Okay. Let me just change back to this. So why do we do projects? Why organizations do projects? Why anyone in the world should do a project or do a project? What's the real reason of doing projects? To execute change. It's like when an organization says, I'm going to be implementing SAP, or when an organization says, I'm going to be building a bridge in here, it's not because we have 5 million euros and we say, how do we spend these 5 million euros? No, there is something, there is an intention to do something. And that something is to transform the business or to create a new product. I always use this example. When you have Coca-Cola, what's your business? Coca-Cola, okay? That's what you do. You just produce Coca-Cola or Coke, then you bottle Coke, you just sell the Coke, no? And then you just receive the money. That's it, okay? It's pretty straightforward. But every once in a while, if the organization doesn't change, if it doesn't change something, create new products, improve their products, then we are in a problem, no? In a problematic situation, because the organization could be disappearing, like Peter was mentioning this morning, no? So for example, companies that didn't change, Kodak, they just didn't do the right things at the right time, then you have a problem, and then you eventually will disappear or have more competition. So what I'm trying to say is we have two sides of the story. The side that it's transforming the business, and that's where we have the projects. This side, no, we need to transform the business to ensure that something new happens. And the side that it's the regular operation, and that's something normal in PMBOK. Anywhere we can read that, okay? But as we are talking about that we need to transform the business, that implies change, as you were mentioning, because anything that we do has to be with change. Unfortunately, when you talk about change, the thing is, if what you do is not different, the way that you do it is what it's going to make a difference. So this is a phrase actually from Mark Langley, the CEO of PMI. And it's interesting because when I read that phrase, that particular statement, I always say, yeah, that's the thing, is everyone in here do projects somehow. The reality is different for every one of us, okay? It's not the same reality, but kind of the same best practices or the kind of the same things we can apply. And that's what we need to just take from here. So at the end of this conversation, I would like you to just take one or two or three things that you say, nah, I think that was a good insight. I am not going to be able to just say that everything is going to be applicable because the reality is different for each one, okay? As they say in Mexico, everyone talks about the party depending on how the party was, okay? So if I was alone and no one just invited me to dance, the party was not that good, okay? But if I was drunk on top of a table and dancing, the party was perfect, okay? It's the same party. And what I'm trying to say is we see the reality in a different way, no? It's your perspective and it's my perspective. Just at the end of this conversation, take whatever you think it's important for you to take back to your reality and try to apply it. With that said, so we said about the strategy, no? So the organization, any organization should have a strategic plan, but I want you to just pay attention to these three numbers. First, 3 of 5 organizations say that they really understand the value of project management. 3 of 5, which means that if we were the entire country of Germany, okay, only this side to there, you understand why you are doing projects, okay? And all of these guys are just spending money in something that they don't understand. And then we try to talk with these guys and talk about the scope and time and risk and blah, 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 and agile. And who cares, okay? They just spend money. It's complicated. Another statistic, 35% of the organizations, they think that they have projects that are aligned to a strategy. 35%. Imagine this. We spend a lot of time and energy and money bringing CEO, CFO, all these guys, consultants, to do a strategic plan. And then we spend money on things that don't make any sense with the strategy. That's awful, no? It's like, wow. Yeah, because if you pay attention to those numbers, it's like incredible. How could it be that organizations say that that's the reality? I don't know if it's 35%, okay? It could be 40. But the thing is, it should be 90, okay? Or something like that. Less than that, it's something to get worried. That's the thing, is how to change that trend. And finally, 61% of the strategic projects actually met their goals. So I am T-Systems, I am the Deutsche Bank, okay? And I say, I'm gonna be just putting money in here, in something that is strategic. And only 61% of those projects actually have results. So if you put everything of this in a mixer, we have an issue. And it's not only in the private sector, it's also in the public sector, okay? Because when you are in the public sector and you are spending money in creating bridges or airports or so, and you don't receive that money back or you don't create any results, that's money that we could be using in other stuff or helping other things, okay? So how to change that? And let me just ask you something. Let me just go back to my thing, okay? Go to your telephone. And can you just explain me with your perception of. How do you perceive your current organization? If you are a consultant, try to just say, my clients are like this, okay? How do you think that your organization is? You have clear strategy and a great execution. You have clear strategy and poor project execution. You have a poor strategy, but the execution is kind of working, okay? Or you have a poor strategy and the execution is even worse. What do you think? It's anonymous. No one is going to know, okay? Don't worry. Be honest. Okay, when we arrive to 80 or something, we can check. Go. Okay? So again, just looking at that graphic, we should have more people at least in here or in here, kind of, okay? In here would be the best, no? But usually it's, my experience says that when you say I have a clear strategy and everything is working fine in execution, maybe you don't know the whole story, okay? Maybe you are missing something in your company. Maybe you are not the owner of that company. Because most of the time, companies have a break or a disconnection between the strategy and the execution. And that happens because there's a lot of reasons. Actually, let me just go to the next one, okay? Why do you think that this disconnection between strategy and results is happening? With only one word, you can say miscommunication, you can say skills, whatever you want. Only one word. Try to use only one word. Why this disconnection between strategy and execution is happening? Leadership, communication, people, humans, okay. Overload, distance. Continue. Actually, the bigger the word is the most that it's being voted, okay? So communication is still winning and leadership. Okay. Let's try to make it 80. Everyone? Ready? But I think that this is not going to change. Whenever you ask about what's the biggest problem in projects, usually is communication. Okay? Usually. And that happens because we are humans, and it belongs to the relationship between two people or several people to just understand. When we talk about this is not like you're saying, I'm going to build a bridge, so you just take 2 kilos of cement and 1 thing of steel and etc., and this is perfect. Our business as project managers is probabilistic. We define in practical thinking in my company, we say, our business is probabilistic, and I say, the business of everyone in here is probabilistic. It's not a science that it's exact. Our business is just try to use agility with some risk management, with something in communication, etc., to increase the probability of success. But it's never going to be perfect, okay? It's just increase the probability. And communication is really well related to that. First, we need to just work with people, ensure that the people is communicating well, that they understand each other, and then the strategy is going to work, and then the technical aspects and all the technical issues are going to work, because if the people is not able to just work together and overcome the communication issues, nothing is going to work. Make sense or not to your reality? Or maybe it's in Latin America, you know. I don't know. Okay, so let me just change it. So, sorry, it's going to take. So, in PMI, we have this report. The Pulse of the Profession started some years ago. It's a research. that we do every year in PMI. Besides the part of working with volunteers, with the chapters, besides working with academia or working with organizations, PMI also invests a lot of time and energy in research. So whenever you have all these graphics of why the projects are failing from the standard, the CAUS the report, no? Or where you are trying to just find out information of what's going on in the world of project management, this is a very good source of information. It's something that it's released every year. There is a formal study called Pulse of the Profession, and additionally to Pulse of the Profession, we have additional reports. So for example, a year we focus on stakeholder management or in communications or in agility or change management. So you will see that in the website, by the way, raise your hand if you have ever seen this report before. Okay. Raise your hand if you have never seen this before. Bad boys, okay? You have to try to just look for it, okay? And not because it's PMI, okay? It's just because it's information, okay? There is a lot of information in there. There is a lot of research saying what's going on with projects, what's going on with the organizations, and it's global, okay? It's Europe, Latin America, US, Asia, Pacific, etc. It's global, it's public and private. There's a lot of information. If I were you, I would go there to just look for what kind of reports can I use for my conversations. Because there is information about how to manage organizational change, how to just improve the sponsorship relationships, okay? Agility. There is a lot of information. What I'm gonna be discussing here is the 2017 Pulse of the Profession report, where we found that every time that you put money, and let me just explain this with a different example. There are two categories of companies according to this report, but I agree, okay? They call it champions and underperformers, okay? Me, in my Latin American way, I would say champions and losers, okay? Because there are some companies that when they put money in projects, in something that it's important, most of the time, like 80% of the time, they receive the money back, okay? Those are champions. Perfect, okay? They put money, they receive some money, okay? So results are there. 80%, I didn't say 100% of the time because this is not a science, okay? This is not exact. 80% of the time. And then you have the losers. I'm not saying you are losers, but just on this side, okay? So there are the underperformers. That's the nice title, okay? Underperformers. The underperformers are companies that they put money, and 60% of the time, their projects fail. They lose money, okay? And to give you an idea how's the distribution, I have the numbers of 2014, but I don't think that has changed too much. Wow, the champions, it's 8%. Like these guys, okay? These guys, wow, okay? They put money, they receive money. And then you have the losers, okay? Imagine that this is the world. And it's 22% or something like that, okay? And that's a lot of people, actually, like, including you, okay? A lot. Because imagine, we are spending money, we are wasting money, and then a lot of companies are not receiving the value back. And then you have 70% of companies that I call the so-so. Sometimes they receive money, sometimes they don't receive money. They don't know what to expect. And if you think about this, this is really bad, okay? Not only for the economy, for the entire generation. You put a lot of money and you never know if the airport that you are building is gonna be on time or not. Well, let's see, okay? Maybe I am lucky and I will be today in there, okay? Or I am 70% of the so-so. And also interesting is that, so there is this classification of champions, underperformers, and they don't have any name by the so-so. But then you have also the idea that if you put money in a project, by definition, you are already risking something, okay? This study says that we have been risking like 9.7% of the money that we put into projects, okay? They use this number, but this is too much, okay? Like for every billion that you invest, you are risking 97 million. Yes, but we don't do projects of a billion, okay? It's not normal. But if you think about it, 9.7%, that's the normal amount at risk. It's even worse in the government. It's even worse in some developing countries, okay? So for example, when I talk about Latin America or government in Latin America, it's about 13% or so. And it's a lot of money. I mean, it's immediately you are already risking, almost already lost, okay? And then, this is why in here it says champion organizations waste 28 times less, because the champion organizations are those guys, okay? The good ones. What I would like to share with you is what are the 4 things that we found that champion organizations do or focus on doing for obtaining better results, okay? So 4 things. First one is skills. They focus on ensuring that everyone in the organization has the right skills, and I'm not talking only about preparing project managers. That's easy. We need to prepare the entire organization. That's one. The second one has to be with benefits. Is if you pay attention to the project numbers, performance in terms of time, cost, and etc., and you miss the point that you are not building a church, but you are building something for 3,000 people that should be baptized and etc., that's the final goal, then you have a problem. That's what we call benefits. We're going to be discussing about that. Third, the sponsorship. As today Peter was mentioning about the sponsorship and how to just create that relationship. Of course, that's normal. We need to just ensure that we have a close relationship with the sponsorship in the organization. So we will talk about that, and I will give you my perspective, and you can actually talk. And then finally, agility, no? Everyone talks about doing agile and etc. So Till was mentioning about agility and etc. But we are talking about organizational agility. How to bring this to the organization. It's not about a project in IT. This is not the thing, okay? So those 4 things actually make the guys that are in that table so good, okay? So let's try to explore every one of those. First, when I say skills, have you ever seen that triangle before or not? No? Never. Okay. So the thing with the triangle is, I wouldn't say that it's new. It's just a different perspective of saying, I think that the problem that we usually face as project managers is that, let me just say something that it's a saying in Spanish. When you are a hammer, everything looks like a nail, okay? Make sense? So, if I am technical and I know about scope, time, risk, costs, all these things, okay? The 10 areas. And I go to talk with my executives, or I have to just talk with the users, and I start the conversation by saying, we are 90% of the time, or we have been progressing, and the CPI is to blah, 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 whatever of those terms. You are being a hammer, and everything looks like a nail. And it's because you are in your comfort zone, no? It's like, for me, the technical conversation is easy. Of course, I know that. But then we need to just leave the comfort zone to just move to the other areas, because you also need to be prepared in those other 2 areas. If not, you cannot be successful. You can have a project manager that knows a lot about how to manage projects, but when it has to go with the business, it doesn't have any value. And I always say to the project managers that I work with, what's the objective, the strategic objective of your project? If you don't know, just be prepared. In a year, I can replace you, okay? It's easy. Why? Because what's different between this project manager and this one, okay? What's the difference? And now in the university, we have people that are leaving the university 25 years. They are cheaper, and they know a lot, okay? Maybe they don't have the same experience, but Managing costs, time, and etc. Well, see, there is no difference in there. The difference is when you know about the business, when you can link the project to the strategy. That's a difference. So you need to understand your technical skills, prepare your strategic skills, but the thing is, you also need to deal with people, because we were mentioning that the major problem is communications, and the base is people, no? If you don't know how to deal with people, maybe you are in the wrong business, okay? Maybe you should go to another thing, because in here, the basis of everything is people. We need to be dealing with people, with customers, with the stakeholders, with the sponsor, with the team. It's just people all around. So we need to be prepared for dealing with people, for dealing with the business and understanding the strategy, and for knowing the technical thing. And in my personal opinion, my not so humble opinion, as they say, we have been too focused on the technical project side. That's the idea of the talent triangle, that we need to just change and start just having skills and experience in those three areas. I always say this is a silly joke, but I say, it's like you have to train everything. It's like when you go to the gym, okay? And you start just doing arms, okay? And then you have these huge arms, but then you have these legs that are really, really, really tiny, okay? Like it doesn't mix, okay? Or you have these huge legs and these tiny, tiny, tiny arms, okay? Like that. Or you are like Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay? And then you ask 2 plus 2, and the person doesn't know because the brain is little, tiny, tiny, tiny. You need to train everything, okay? You need to train the technical skills, the strategic skills, and the leadership skills. Because otherwise, we are not going to be successful. This is so competitive right now that there is a lot of people into the market. How do you want to maintain your competitiveness if you are just specialized in only one area? Or maybe you know about the business for 30 years, that's cool. But what about the people, no? And it's not a natural thing. So let me just ask you something. Go to your telephone, my friends. Okay. What's the hardest skill to get, okay? Wow, that was fast. Ready? And now I am going to need that microphone because I'm going to be asking you to talk, okay? Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
2 seconds.
Okay. So who wants to talk? It's voluntary or not? Or not? Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
I think, yeah, go
looking at that graphic, do you agree with that?
ahead. No, I didn't vote for leadership.
Okay. Why?
Because I remember being at a conference once, particularly I voted for strategic and business management.
Okay.
Because I was at a conference, a lot of MBAs, and they asked how many in the room have MBAs. Lots raised their hand. How many had a course on strategy formulation? All the hands stayed up. How many had a course on strategy execution? Not one.
Not one.
So I think that's a big gap. In fact, I think it's 2 out of the top 100 business schools don't only have one course in strategy execution.
Perfect.
But
Let me just, I'm not going to throw the microphone, otherwise I'm going to kill the lady, okay? Okay.
Yeah, and I also agree that it's important to have something on strategy execution or implementation. That's why in my MBA I had this. So we had actually a course on, of course, strategic management, but also strategy implementation.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a very important part.
And I think it depends on your reality. Remember, the party should be different for everyone, okay? Yes, sir. What do you say?
Thanks, but we have to read exactly the question. What is the hardest set of skills to get in the market? It's not the personal, what we feel or what we experience by ourselves. Strategic and business management, we can learn. Technical skills, we can learn. Leadership skills, we cannot learn. We have it or we don't have it.
And actually, when I ask this question, usually this is the lower, okay, technical. The competition is in here. Is leadership skill or strategic? Because You can get training, okay? You can go to a course or so about communication, negotiation, etc. But the thing is, you have to just do it, okay? Leadership skills, all these things about communication, dealing with people, is something that you just have to just jump into the pool and see how it goes, okay? On the other side, strategic and business management is something that you can take a training in the MBA, but you need to also learn about the strategy of the company that you are working with, no? So it's a combination of those two things. It's like experience plus training. This one is easier just to training, okay? Just do training and you can have some idea of how to use project or how to do risk management. You have to practice, of course, but it's easier to acquire. It's easier to just get this into the market. These two are more complicated. And if I say, this is even way more complicated because I can bring someone that it's perfect, has all the interpersonal skills and all the technical, but doesn't understand my business. That's complicated, okay? Because there is no link with what where we are going as a company, as a government, you know? That's way more complicated for me. Okay. Yes. What time is it? 5:16. So we talk about the skills. Now let's talk about the benefits. And this graphic is especially to confuse you, okay? But let me just try to just make it simple for you. There are like 3 major stages in the life of a project, okay? When we are deciding what to do, okay? We say, oh, let's do a business case or something, okay? And then we do a decision of what to do. Then we do a project or a program, okay? Whatever you want to do, just do it in here. And then after the project, okay? And in here is when you see the return of that project, okay? My question is, normally we focus too much on these indicators. All the earned value indicators, how this is going on time, scope, quality, blah, blah, blah. That are, essentially, they are key performance indicators, okay? But the thing is, if I do an implementation of SAP that I wanted to reduce the operational cost by 5%, the last day of the implementation, when I say, ready, you can start, in that moment, I haven't just received or I cannot measure if I actually reduce 5% of the operational cost. Are you following me? It's really difficult. It happens usually after the project. But in that moment, the project manager is already gone. He has 2 more projects to do, okay? He's not even there. So what happens if we don't pay attention to those indicators? Let's see if it really makes sense, okay? Maybe we spent $5 million in SAP implementation and this didn't create the result that we expected. So we need to just have other indicators in here that are going to be measuring also the results of the project, but it's way more important to just do feedback in the strategy, you know? And the problem is that most of the organizations, they don't pay attention to that because we are specialists. When we say portfolio is selection, prioritization, just starting the projects, okay? Then you do project management or program management, etc. And then it stops here. But what happens next? And it's not only doing a review in 6 months. It's just checking and saying, wow, the strategy should change, okay? Let's go back to the source, okay? And then the strategy is adjusted and say, wow, we spend money where we shouldn't be spending. You know, it's all the full cycle. When we talk about the strategy execution, it's taking the strategy till the moment of the execution and connecting the 2 dots. Make sense? That's when we call about benefits realization. And organizations that are really successful, they pay attention to that. And usually, I see in a lot of companies that they do very good job in here in the portfolio. They do very good job in here, but they do a very poor job in here, so they really don't know what's the impact of this in the bottom line of the company or the government when it's a public organization. So the focus should be there. Sponsorship. So we discussed this morning with Peter about the sponsorship, that it's important. What's the problem with the sponsorship? As Peter was mentioning, you go to a project management training course, done, deal, okay? Risk management, deal. Whatever management, deal, okay? Sponsorship management. There is no training for that. No? If I give you a project and you're going to be my sponsor in the company, what's your expectation of being a sponsor? The guy is going to take the scissors the day of the inauguration. That's the only thing that he has to do, okay? He's going to have space in the photos when they are celebrating, okay? And he has to yell. That's it. Essentially, that's the idea, because no one is teaching them what a sponsor means, okay? What do a sponsor regular has to do? And because organizations don't pay attention to that. And because a sponsor is going to be dealing with the functional side, the operation side, the normal business day-to-day, plus this thing that is like when they leave a baby in a basket in your home, okay? You don't know what to do with that, but you have to raise it, okay? It's a baby. It's like, it's kind of the same, okay? It's cruel, okay? I know it's a Latin joke, sarcastic. But the thing is, I am saying, is sometimes you receive projects, you are not prepared for that, you have more responsibility, and you just go with the project, okay? Because it's my baby, you know? And I think that that's the point, is we need to change the paradigm of how do we perceive the sponsorship. Because it's easy to complain that we don't have enough participation of the sponsors, that the communication with the sponsors is not working. But what are we doing to change it? Organizations that are successful, the winners, okay? They do a lot of work with the sponsor. They change the thing. They don't only, let me just try to write in here. Why? So they don't only try to work with this level of the organization that it's in here. This is the project managers, okay? Or program manager of the operation. They also try to work with this layer, okay? It's like with the strategic level and the tactical level. Because in here, they need to talk about the strategy and how this is related to execution. In here, they need to talk about project management and how this is related to the strategy. And in here, they need to talk about how to do a sponsorship, because you are the ham in this sandwich, okay? You need to connect the strategy with the execution. Make sense? Yes. So when I was mentioning before about the skills, it's not only for the project managers. You also need to train these other layers, no? The strategic and at the tactical level. Because otherwise it's not going to be effective. You can spend a lot of time training project managers, but when they go with the CEO, the guy doesn't want to talk about anything about projects. For him, that's too technical. Okay? On the other hand, this guy needs to know about the strategy, because it's important. If you don't know the strategy, what are you doing with the project, you know? You are not going to be an expert in the strategy, but you need to understand what's going on. See the idea? And finally, agility. So we were talking about agility, but the problem with agility is that sometimes, as Till was mentioning, you focus too much on just saying, do it in a part of the organization. You don't have experience being agile, okay? And you think that agility is just doing a Scrum or Kanban or whatever name you want, okay? Let me just tell you and do a similarity. What happens when we say, let's do projects that are going to be using an agile approach, okay? But then we have to change the budget. What's the regular cycle of budget for your company? Every year, no? Every year they start discussing the budget for the next year, like in September or so. So everything is September, October, November, then they decide the budget. January, February, they start executing the budget. And then in April, they see that they need to change something because the strategy is not working. We need to just accommodate numbers and etc. I can bet you that the organization takes a lot of time to just analyze that. No matter how agile you are, how many Scrum Masters you have, okay? This is execution, okay? But in here, the organization takes time to analyze the budget, change the budget, the invoices, the purchase order, okay? All this is bureaucratic at maximum, okay? And all this you can be running. This is like having the elephant that has a zebra. I use the example of, it's like having an elephant and using some tennis shoes, it's not going to run, okay? It's going to look nice, but it's not going to run, okay? Because you have to modify everything in the organization, not just one piece. Being agile in the organization is not about Scrum or that. It's just changing the organization to just say, how can we improve the processes? How can we respond faster to the changes? That's agility. Organizations that are successful, they focus on that kind of agility. I'm not talking about agility for IT projects or so. I'm talking about agility and lean, if you want, processes. Make sense? Are you still awake? I am the one that has jet lag, okay? So, let me ask you something different. What's your organization or your client attitude toward these factors? So, they think, okay, in my organization, everything that it's skills, the PMI talent triangle, they are paying a lot of attention or not? What about benefits realization? A lot of attention or not? Effective sponsorship. What do you see in your reality? Let's share a little bit of it. What do you see? In the organization where you are working, the clients that you have, are they paying attention to those things? Okay, so again, comparing with other conferences or what I do in my consulting thing, usually the skills, I mean, right now there is a lot of focus on just trying to just do something about this, okay? Providing interpersonal skills or strategy, there is more awareness of this, okay? There are two things that usually are really low in the organizations, that it's sponsorship and agility. And that happens because sponsorship is something that the business still don't understand. And agility, when they talk about agility, is only about doing agile projects or with this kind of approach, okay? They don't pay attention to the entire organization. I'm gonna leave you with this because I think that that's the message that I wanted to just share. Is we have 4 things that make a company to be successful, probabilistically, that are concentrating on the skills, that it's focusing on the benefits, ensuring that you have sponsorship and they understand what a sponsorship means, and working on agility at the organizational level. How you are going to be changing that in your organization. And this is not a training for that. If you want to know more, go to the PMI site, go for the pulse of the profession, read the information that it's there, look for more information in the market, because if you learn how to just do this, if you understand how to just start changing the culture, it could be just a big deal, okay? I know a company in Chile that they started to just work on all these aspects, and it's impressive, okay? I am not gonna say that it's perfect, but it's way better than when we started. And not because of me or my company, it's just because of the company, but it was a change in here first. It's a mindset. It's starting to say, this is not the most important indicators. It's starting to say, we need to change everything to be just agile. This is not only about the projects. Okay? Let me just go now with something more personal. Do you remember the name of my daughter or not? That was for a prize, okay? Let me tell you what I say. Why do we do this, okay? This letter in here actually was like 3 years ago, Sophia. Sophia is now 13, okay? And there was this guy that it's in New Zealand. She mentioned some books of project management. Do you remember? The guy in New Zealand, he started to write project management books for children, okay? The name is Project Kids Adventure. You can look for that. And the thing is, it's like a story, like kind of a Harry Potter for project management. It's not kind of boring, it's not the PM book, okay? It was nice. It was nice. So the thing is, he started to write these books. Every year he had a book, okay? So I gave my daughter the first one to read it, and she loved it. And then the second one, and she loved it. And then she was asking for the third one, and the guy had to write it, okay? So say, no, this is gonna be difficult, but can I ask you a favor? Can you just write down, why do you like these project management books? So that's when she just wrote that note, okay? And it was interesting to me because she says in here, I think these books are full of education mixed with fun. It teaches children like me to be responsible and organized. These books are also show how to organize a project and what a project manager has to do. The book explains that you can break apart your project and put it in a diagram. I think this book will leave anyone who reads it feeling smart, okay? I don't know you, but this one in here sounds a lot like a word breakdown structure, that you can break apart your project and put it in a diagram, okay? And actually, when I was talking with her, she said, it's because you need to be prepared for the things when they are gonna fail. And that for me, in my language, is risk management, okay? She didn't say risk management, but she knows that, okay? And then like a year later, she was doing a project at the school, and they were saying, okay, what are the description of the responsibilities, no? And this is her letters, her phone. So Emily brought the material, Daniel helped with the team name, Penelope designed. She managed the project, okay? She's already a manager, okay? And it's interesting. And what I am saying is, because why I do this, and why do I expect you to just understand what we were talking about here, is because we need to change that generation. If they understand these concepts of how to link something to a bigger thing, okay? It's like you should just pay attention to the result there, not only to the minor stuff in here. If they understand those skills, if they understand how to deal with people, then the future could be different. Your future, my future. Because I want to be in retirement in Hawaii, enjoying a mojito. I won't be able if these guys continue just screwing the projects, okay? I need to do something. So I need to ensure that that generation is gonna be different. And that my daughters, that your children, that your nephews, nieces, etc., they are prepared to that world. So keep that in mind, because this is about the future. It's not only about the business. Of course it's about the business. But this has a bigger thing. And finally, we are going to do two things, okay? This is a quick satisfaction survey, and then we are going to be just doing an exercise in here, okay? So just go with the flow. I am Latin, I'm crazy, okay? Just go. Okay. So a quick satisfaction survey, let me just tell you what. First, is if you can, because I think it's better for everyone in here to understand first, if this was inspirational and it was really motivating, the knowledge and experience, the presenter skills, the quality of the presentation, and if this information is useful somehow. And you can be honest, okay? If you don't like the presenter, you can say it, okay? It's anonymous. It's anonymous, don't worry. If you love my accent, my Sofia Vergara accent, just let me know. Okay. And then I'm going to be asking you in the next one, this is the first Congress, okay? Remember that you have seen that I used the Germany flag at the beginning saying Willkommen, no? Because I think that that's important, okay? It's a milestone, just getting together to say, we are working together with 4 different chapters. Of course, they are different regions. Of course, we have differences in culture. Of course, the members are not the same, but we can work together. That's huge, okay? So this is the first one, which means that there should be a second one, okay? And the second question is about, what are your suggested topics? I mean, what do you want to explore next year? What are the things that you want to just talk about next year in a Congress? What do you see in the market that was not discussed here that you should look for it? Chase studies? What is that? How to chase people, you want to know? Case studies, okay. I was just kidding, okay, no. Solution for ailing projects, sustainability, social media, sponsorship training, okay? Project management and mindfulness, okay? Make project management things, okay? What is coming after Agile, okay? And there, because we are going to be collecting that information for the chapter, okay? So it's important for them to just discuss with the rest of the chapters and what are the topics that they could be exploring for the second one. And let me just go with this. Let me just do an exercise. This is going to be complicated, okay? But just follow me. With the idea of the working together, okay? Let me just explain how this exercise is going to work. You are going to hate me, I know. Where is the microphone?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we need to just first just leave some space around because we are going to be doing a big circle here. And by the way, we are Latins, okay? The Latins, we don't have that personal space, that, okay? I'm going to be asking you to hold hands. We are not going to sing anything. You're not going to cry. Okay? No worries. Nothing like that, okay? But I may ask you to just hold the hand of someone that is next to you, okay? No worries. If you are allergic to germs, just let me know. We can work it out, okay? Just don't worry. Try to relax, okay? I'm going to be asking all these guys that are there to just come into the center, okay? Because we are going to be doing a circle around, and I'm going to be bothering you there. I mean, you, all these guys, there, the ones that are seated. I can go there to tell you, come on. Come to the center, okay?
No.
Yes, I know. Germans are difficult, eh? Okay, come to the center. It's because I don't want to bother you. And it's going to be actually going through here, okay? So we have to just have a space in here, okay? Just be prepared. Come here. Just go to a circle. Go inside the circle, okay? Because there will be a circle outside. Come here. Okay, let me just explain you how this is going to work. It's going to be complicated. Just follow me, okay? So, I start by doing this assumption that in less than 5 minutes, all of us, will be connected somehow for something that is not project management, okay? There are more things that connect us beyond project management, okay? And for doing this, I'm gonna just start with an exercise. So I will let you know when I'm ready. I start with something, don't go, this is gonna be fun. She was scared, she thought that we were gonna cry. So the thing is, I say something personal about me, okay, that you don't know, okay? You don't have to go too close, okay? Like whatever you feel confident. But I say something that it's personal, it's specific. For example, I can say, I like to go to the movies, but what kind of movies? Everyone can go to the movies, okay? It's like, what kind of movies? I say, I like horror movies, okay? I like to be just killing people. I don't know, I may have something in my brain, okay? But the horror movies, okay? And then if you say, I like that, you just come here to my side, okay? See what I'm saying? So if I say something that connects you, you just come here and just stay here. And if there's more people, you came and you start just going to the circle, okay? With the same connection that I did. When we finalize, the last one is going to take the microphone and is going to talk about that person saying something personal. In my case, I like to read this kind of books, or I like to do this. And if you think, me too. Just come and continue. Make sense? Is that clear or not? No much? No? Más o menos. Okay.
The first question to come to the front.
Yeah, let me just try the exercise, okay? Just pay really close attention. Only you come here or to connect if you say, I like that too, okay? Ready? I say, don't go, this is gonna be so fun. We're missing people. I like, for example, superheroes. I am a nerd. I love Superman, all this Justice League. I'm just waiting for the movie, okay? That's something that I love. I also love to go to the movies, especially horror movies. If you find something that connects you, just come here, okay? There you go, you are brave. Thank you. You are supporting me. I love you. There you go. Okay. Okay, so I say, okay, which one was? The being nerd or the horror movies? Okay. Oh gosh, I don't love you so much.
I like to play musical instruments.
Okay, which kind of instrument?
Violin.
Violin, any violin? Go, okay. Anyone else? Come here. Don't be shy, okay? There. Another one, okay? Go. Now you. Anyone else? No. Oh, the third one. She's leaving. You are not gonna play the violin. Okay, just go. And now continue. Say something about you.
Okay. I like to go hiking.
Hiking, okay. Go. Continue, okay? Just go. And just pass the microphone to the last one, okay? Wow, how many? Wow. Too healthy.
Oh, they understood that. Yeah.
It's like, okay. To the last one.
It's a nerve for the Germans.
Yeah.
Sauna would be
Yep.
Just don't break the circle, okay? Okay, who's the last one? Just go here, please. Oh. Who's the last one? There. Wow, you're really healthy, eh? Okay. So, you continue, okay? Something that it's personal that you love, okay?
I like to drive fast with my car.
All Germany! You are healthy, you are dangerous. Yes, I know. Pass the microphone, please. Wow.
You're like, I don't have a car.
No, just go with the microphone and they can continue, just. Okay? Wow. I don't want to live here, okay? Where are you, my friend?
Sorry?
No, this is my place. I am close to the lady, okay? Okay? Thomas, you too?
Yeah, so,
oh, gosh.
Too, yes.
You're just lying.
But also, I also like to go slowly when I go sailing. I like to go sailing.
Sailing? This is better? Okay. What else? The last one, okay? Just pass the microphone to the last one.
You're the last one.
Okay. What else, my friend?
I like spending time with my children.
Spending time with your children. How many children? Everyone.
Only two.
Guys,
but
only two
very
children.
Few time.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Only two children. Because if you say children, anyone has children, and everyone loves children, okay, or their own children. I expect. Okay. What else? The last one. Who's the last one? Yeah, it was two children. Okay. What?
I like to sing in the shower.
Sing in the shower. What kind of music? Wow.
I like ice cream, especially hazelnut flavor.
Hazelnut, okay.
Are you also hazelnut?
No, just the last one. It has to be the last one.
The last one.
Hazelnut. Between the hazelnut, the children, the cars, and this hiking, we are complete with Germany. Okay.
I like swimming.
Swimming, okay.
Swimming.
What else? You haven't connected. What else?
Last one?
No, I like swimming.
You like swimming.
Am I the other one? Oh.
Okay, now talk about you, okay? Something about you. No, you.
I know,
Go.
I'm thinking.
Try to say something personal, okay? Let's see if we can connect these guys. There's like 5 missing.
I like to go to church on Sunday.
Okay. Now, what else? They like to run cars. It's complicated. What else?
I like to spend time with my wife.
You also like to spend time with his wife. Okay.
You're married, if you must not spend time with your wife.
Okay. That was forced, correct? Okay.
I like to cook a good meal, especially Italian food.
Italian food, you like to cook. Okay, what else? You just screwed my exercise, thank you. What else? Well, you also like to cook? Italian food?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Hopefully
We haven't connected to these 3 ladies, okay?
Yeah. I like to sleep in the morning.
Still one sitting.
What else? Okay, now, try.
I like to go shopping.
Nah. What else? What else? Ah. Okay.
I like traveling.
Traveling to where? I know that at the end you cheat just because you say, I'm going to do it, okay? But that's okay. Just let me just, okay. So now this is the time, just stay there in your place. You, okay? Are you ready? Now I'm going to be asking you to just take the hands of the person that is close to you. Okay? Ready? Okay. Let me just tell you something really personal. When you look at this, just take a look around, okay? There you go. This is the first Congress, okay? And I really expect you to have a second one and to be here again or whatever the city is, okay? But the thing is, it's way easier when we realize that we are not alone, okay? That when you say, yes, the work is difficult, you know, it's complicated, my boss is difficult, the users are difficult, the clients are difficult, but it's easier when you know that you have support of someone, okay? So try to never break that, because if we start just working by ourselves, trying to do things alone, it doesn't work. It's super complicated. Life is easier when you have someone to rely on. And this is a group that you can rely on, because we have the same problems, okay? And we are humans, and this is not only about project management. This is about hiking and trying to kill yourself in the car. Sailing, going with your wife, spending time with the guy, the wife of this guy. You know, it's about those things. And it's way more fun than just coming to a conference for a training, okay? It's way more fun. So thank you.
Thank you.